everybody, it's Chris Eads, known online as Wootini, here with another Gay Gamer video podcast. I actually can't review a movie at the beginning of this episode. I had planned to do a movie review, but let me explain. So, the 4th of July threw me off of my movie watching schedule because I was out of town and I couldn't go to the movies. So I missed Spider-Man Far From Home and Midsommar, which came out over that 4th of July weekend. So I said, that's fine. I will go the following weekend and I will see Spider-Man Far From Home. And because my husband had already seen it, I could just go and see it in 3D. I didn't have to see it in 2D with him and then go back to see the 3D version myself. So that saves me some time. So I went looking for tickets and I discovered that AMC was showing it in IMAX Laser 3D, which I had heard that the IMAX Laser is even better than regular IMAX. So I said, sure, why not? So I bought a ticket for $5.15 on Saturday evening and went to see the movie, and I enjoyed the first half of it. The second half I have not seen yet. Because, like, just over an hour into the film, very big dramatic moment, I'm not going to tell you, it's the bridge scene. For those of you who've seen the movie, which is probably everybody at this point, except me, the bridge scene with Peter and MJ, so it's like this big emotional moment in the film, big character moment, and all of a sudden the sound starts dropping out, and we're all like, what the hell, dude, this is a big scene, like, this is important, we need to hear what they're saying. Then the sound came back, but then the picture dropped out. And then all we could do is hear. We heard the rest of that scene and the beginning of the next scene while seeing absolutely nothing. Then they stopped the movie entirely. Over the course of the next hour, we discovered that there was a big, like, manhole fire that caused a transformer to go out, and the entire, like, Upper West Side of Manhattan was, like, blackout city. The theater never lost power. Like, the air conditioning and the lights, like, everything worked. But they said that what had happened was all of the theaters, like, the movies fritzed out. Like, I guess there was some kind of pulse and it, like, fried the equipment or glitched it up or whatever. So they basically had to go back and restart each theater one by one. And it took like an hour, and a lot of people just like left. And when I went out to go pee, because I was like, I don't care, like, I want to see the rest of the movie. I don't want to have to come back and watch the first hour again, and then watch the back half. I was like, let me just watch the back half. There was a massive crowd at the customer service desk on the way to the bathroom. And I'm like, that can't just be from the IMAX theater. It's big, but it's not that big. And it turned out later, I found out that all of the theaters had glitched up. So, like, hundreds of people were in line to get refund tickets. And I said, that's fine. Also, I don't need a refund ticket because I have AMC A-List, so I can go see it again and there's no additional charge to me. It's part of my monthly subscription. So, but if I had paid $25 for this ticket, you better believe I'd be getting a refund of some kind. And not just a free pass. I want two because that costs almost twice as much as a regular film. So I went back and I waited and I waited and I waited and I waited and I waited. And they eventually explained the situation that they were rebooting all the theaters. And then the screen did go dark, and then it came up with like it wasn't the blue screen of death, but it was like a restart kind of computer screen. Then the movie restarted from the very beginning in 2D. And we're all just like, what the actual hell? And so we watched the opening scene, and then the Marvel credits, and then the opening scene in the school, and then it stopped again. Then it restarted in 3D, but again at the beginning. That was the point where I was like, how many times am I going to watch this opening scene? It's going to give me PTSD now. So I went outside, and there was a woman, and she's like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And we're like, can you get it to where we left off? And the problem was, she's like, yes, the general manager is on his way to the projection booth. We're going to figure something out. And there's a whole bunch of people that were trying to come in because they'd taken so long to restart things that it was time for the next show. So there's a bunch of people trying to come in for the 8:30 show, and she's trying to explain to them that there's a bunch of people in the theater who've been there since 5:30, and they're waiting to see the end of the movie. So unfortunately, when I went back and I sat down, they came in and said, we're really sorry, but we have to ask you to leave. We're going to give you free passes on the way out. We need to bring in the people for the 8:30 showing. You're more than welcome to use one of those passes to buy a ticket for the 8:30 showing if you want. And I'm just like, no, at this point, I just want to go home. I've had enough. I don't want to sit through the beginning of the movie again. I need to at least give me, like, I was like, I'm not even going to try to buy tickets for Sunday. I didn't want to come back today to try to watch the movie again, because I need to put some distance between me and the first hour of this movie again, because I'm going to have to sit through it again. So I'm just like, alright, we'll try again next weekend. But I got my free tickets, which I gave to my husband because, like I said, I don't need them, but he can totally use them to go to AMC theaters and watch movies, and that'll be great. So I have no idea if Spider-Man is any good or not. The first hour that I saw, absolutely delightful, wonderful, perfect follow-up to Homecoming. These are the best Spider-Man movies ever being made. The IMAX laser 3D looked fantastic. It was a bright, crisp, clear picture. The 3D was fantastic. All the shots with the big water monster and stuff splashing around, it's like right in your face. It's really good. So I don't know if I'm going to be able, the following week, I don't know if it'll still be in the IMAX theaters in 3D. I'll try. If not, I'll just go for a regular 3D showing. Hopefully they'll still have those, because it's been a couple weeks. And then I still need to see Midsommar. Luckily, next weekend everybody's going to be going to see that horrible Lion King remake, so I don't have to worry about it. Like, I don't care about that. That's just horrible, so I have no interest in that whatsoever. So, yeah, so that was my adventure. Oh, and plus, because there was a power outage, there were a bunch of subway stations that had no power, so the subways were all completely effed up, and I'm like, how am I even going to get home to Brooklyn? Thankfully, I found one subway line that was running, and it took me, like, a long local trip, but I did manage to get home to Brooklyn, and I'm like, I'm not leaving the neighborhood today. Like, I'm sure it's all fixed now, but I'm still just like, no, staying home. No, I'm not going out. I mean, I went out to the store, but I'm not leaving the neighborhood. I'm not getting in subway trains. I'm not going to Manhattan. I'm staying in Brooklyn. As for gaming, sorry, that was a really long rant. No, and it's funny because I was all concerned that I was like, I tried this new AMC IMAX laser 3D thing, and I'm like, look, and it fucks up. But it turned out it wasn't that particular format. That format is fine. It was all the theaters because there was a big power surge and a power outage. So AMC was not at fault, thank goodness. Because I still love them. But as for gaming, as I said before, the long 4th of July holiday allowed me to make quite a bit of good progress in Ys VIII. I couldn't really play it, like, on my vacation with my family, because, you know, I gotta play with my nieces and stuff. But I have a long trip to Massachusetts and a long trip home. So on that bus, the bus trip went by like that because I just sat there playing and killing monsters and exploring this island and finding castaways and expanding the story, and it's great. In the beginning of this game, I was a little nervous about the boss fights because the regular enemies were fine, and then you'd have like this big enemy, and they were really tough, and it was like, ah! But either I leveled up enough, or I've gotten better at the combat, or a combination of both. But they're no longer, like, I see a scary boss, and I'm just like, oh, but you're not so bad, I can take care of you, that's fine. And I've now reached a point where the exploration was put on pause because they had to do a story thing where one of the castaways turned out to be a serial killer. Unfortunately, it wasn't who I suspected. It was somebody else. And it came out of nowhere, and I'm just like, what the actual F? But also, I was a little perturbed that you aren't able to kill the serial killer and bring justice yourself. You sort of do, but then he's still alive after your fight, and then something else kills him. No spoilers, even though it's a 2-year-old game. But I was a little disappointed in that because I wanted to deal the killing blow with my own hand, because he's a complete douche. Anyway, the game is still good. I'm very much enjoying it. I have now reached the point where at the end of that little serial killer storyline, there's some major story developments with the characters, and now it has shifted perspective, and now I am playing as Dana, who is this priestess with magic powers, and I'm exploring the temple now, and that's where I have left it off. I don't mind a change in perspective, as long as it happens early in the game. It's when you play the game as one character, and then all of a sudden at the end of the game, you play as a different character, and it completely undercuts any kind of, like, build-up and emotional impact. I'm looking at you, LA Noir. So, I don't know if it's gonna, like, stay with Dana, then switch back to Adol, and then switch back to Dana, and then they'll meet for the ending. I'm not sure how it's structured, but we'll see what happens. Or maybe this is just, like, a little side thing that you do for, like, a little one mission, and then you're mostly Adol with a little bit of Dana until she joins. If that even happens. I don't know. No spoilers, please. But I'm still enjoying it. I just wish I had more time to play it portably. But I don't play it at home that much. I have played it a little on the TV, but mostly when I'm home, I'm playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which continues to be super fun. Especially since... okay, so if you have all 5 pieces of an armor set in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, it will give you special abilities. And my favorite is the Armor of the Immortal, because if you're wearing all 5 pieces of that set and you die, it automatically brings you back to life. So if you're in a boss fight and they kill you, you're immediately brought back to life so that you can keep continuing the fight, with full health, mind you, and you just keep fighting. So that's super helpful in boss battles, so I really like that one. The problem is, it's not the prettiest set of armor, and I had just gotten the whole set of, like, the Spartan armor, which looked great, but then I decided to upgrade my Immortal armor again and wear that, but it's not the prettiest thing. So I know that you can go in and change the appearance of the armor, so you'll still have the Armor of the Immortal and get the power, but you can make it look like, you can customize the skin to make it look like whatever you want. And in going through the choices, I discovered that I had unlocked a bunch of different choices, one of which happened to be the bare-chested and oiled version of Alexios from the Olympics. So I immediately selected that, which had me running around doing missions, wearing a loincloth, oiled up, and looking sweaty. And it was really funny, it was very goofy, and it made for some very nice pictures of a half-naked Alexios, you know, lit by the sun, or, you know, whatever. But doing a main story mission while naked was sort of weird, and I felt like it was inappropriate, and I was like, no, if I'm going to do, like, side missions, that's fine, but to do one of the main story missions, I'm like, let me put something on that looks like actual armor. So I did go in, I mean, I picked out this piece, that piece, this piece, that piece, so that I could have something that looked like, you know, something customized and looks like I want to look. And then I went back and did a main story mission, which was to kill Medusa. Unfortunately, the Medusa fight is super, super duper hard. It was so hard that I actually went online to look up, like, tips or hints, because I'm like, is there something that I should be doing that I'm not doing? Am I missing something that would make this a lot easier? Because I would fight and it would go on for like 10, 15 minutes, and it just, you're whittling away at her health slowly, 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 and she gets to a certain point, and then she brings out, like, her stone army, and then you have to fight them while she's trying to turn you to stone, and your health is going, and it's like, oh my god, and it takes forever. And, like, sometimes I would go forever, and then I would die. And sometimes I would die right away, and I was just like, oh my god, this is so frustrating. So in the end, it turned out, looking up for hints, I wasn't doing anything wrong. It's just a really, really difficult fight. So in the end, after multiple tries and growing frustration, I changed the difficulty from normal down to easy, which did not make the fight easy, mind you. It simply made it doable. It still took forever, it was still rough, and I did still struggle a little with it, but it was doable, and I managed to finish. And I managed to kill Medusa. And then I brought the difficulty back up to normal, so I'll finish the game with normal. And thankfully, it turns out, people were saying online that the Medusa fight is like literally the hardest fight in the game. It's the most difficult battle in the whole game, which gives me hope that whatever comes at the end of the main story of Assassin's Creed Odyssey won't be that difficult. So I should hopefully be able to pull it off without having to adjust the difficulty again. We'll see. Oh, one last thing before I go. Nintendo announced this past week the existence of the Nintendo Switch Lite, which is a smaller, strictly portable version of the Switch that comes in cute, pretty colors. And it's neat, but I have to admit, me personally, it's not for me. Which is funny because I basically play my Switch portably like 95% of the time. So if I didn't already have a Switch, a cheaper version of the Switch that was strictly portable, I would totally go for that. Although I wouldn't get it now, I would probably wait until March and see if they made like a special Animal Crossing branded one, with like Animal Crossing logos or colors or something, that came with Animal Crossing, and then I would buy that. But right now, I'm just like, I'm good. Because the whole point of the Nintendo Switch is that you can play it on your TV, and then you can like take it out of the dock and go bring it on the train or the bus or go to the park or sit outside, and you can play your game portably. And it's all in one. Like, that's the selling point. It's both. It's a home console and a portable. So now they're just like, well, but here's just the portable version. And, you know, I'm like, that's kind of cool. And I like the idea of having a smaller version that's more portable and stuff, but I like having it be both. Also, I would have to actually go... I am curious, and I am going to try. I am going to go, when it's out, I'll see if I can try it out at Nintendo World, just to see how small that screen really is. Because the thing is that like, after playing on, like, the PSP and the Vita and the 3DS, to have the Switch, it's a really good size screen. I think it's kind of perfect. Like, it's big enough that it's easy to see, but it's small enough that it's still portable. And it's not like a giant tablet kind of thing. So the smaller version, it's only like an inch or so smaller, I think. But I'm wondering, like, is that just too small for me? It's probably not. I'm sure it's fine. But I am older, and I'm starting to need reading glasses sometimes. So, like, the Switch screen is good for me. And I fear if it was any smaller, I'd have to play with reading glasses, and that's embarrassing. Like, bad enough I'm, like, pulling out my Switch, and then I gotta pull out my reading glasses, and it's, like, it's a whole thing, and nobody wants that. I mean, I don't want that. But I hope it does well for Nintendo, because I need Nintendo to continue to do well, so that they continue to put out awesome Switch games. I just can't justify spending an additional $200 to get a portable version of something I already own that, like, for people who don't already have a Switch, I'm sure it's a great option if you just want a portable system, which, like I said, it's pretty much what I use it for, so I would buy one. If they had offered two versions at start, I would have done it. But I already have the main Switch, so it is also portable, so I don't need to buy a separate one for $200, because that's really a waste of money. So, sorry Nintendo, I'm not going to be upgrading. Because to me, it's not an upgrade. Like, when I went from the 3DS to the 3DS XL, that's an upgrade, because it's a bigger screen, it's better. Here, I don't feel like it's as much of an upgrade as a downgrade, because it's a smaller screen, it's portable, but you can't play it on your TV, so I'm like, eh. But I hope it does well for them. So that's it for this episode. Come back next time. I'll talk about more stuff and more games and more movies, because by then I will hopefully have been able to see all of Spider-Man. Good luck to me. Bye!